On this episode, powered by BetUS, we've talked about it. We've theorized about it. Did we just get confirmation that Tyreek Hill got Wes Welker fired? Man, we are going to talk about it. Plus, the Dolphins, they added a cornerback today, as well as seems like those guys on the offensive line are slimming down and shredding up. We will talk about all that in Combine Week. Here we go. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score. Field on the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Man, I would have gone earlier, but I had some stuff going on and was just not able to. So here I am, better late than never. Appreciate all of you coming through. As you do, please do me the favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We are later than normal as seen by the time on the clock. So thank you all for coming through. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Listen, we got a bit to go over today. I don't know if you guys heard it, but the Tush push, it really seems like that Tush push, it is going to be potentially a thing of the past. As you know, it really does seem like the Packers, they want to ban the Tush push. They proposed it. Listen, that's we all knew it was going to come eventually. I mean, they're not going to allow this thing to continue to go on and on and on. And I know, there was a quote regarding like why he kind of wanted it pushed, and one of the things that he said was, I'll give you the exact quote, right? I'll give you the whole thing. This is what the Packers president, this is what he said regarding the Tush push. I'm not a fan of this play. There's no skill involved, and it is almost an automatic first down on plays of a yard or less. The series of plays with the Commanders jumping off sides in the NFC Championship game to try and stop the play was ridiculous. The referee even threatened to give the Eagles an automatic touchdown if the Commanders did not stop it. I would like to see the league prohibit pushing or aiding the runner, QB, on this play. There used to be a rule prohibiting this, but it is no longer enforced because I believe it was thought to be too hard for the officials to see. This play is bad for the game, and we should go back to prohibiting the push of the runner. This would bring back the traditional QB sneak. Worked pretty well for Bart Starr and the Packers in the Ice Bowl. So I don't know where you stand on this. I know it's pretty much 50-50. A lot of people are split. There are a lot of people who share the sentiments of the Packers president, and then there's a lot who say, you know what? Let it ride. Who cares? So, and I do kind of agree with Scotty Joe, as, someone who went, the Catholic school where I played high school football at, was dominant in football, dominant in hockey, dominant in basketball, baseball, and the other sport they were dominant was rugby. And it's basically a scrum. Like, it's basically a, you know, like I kind of agree with Scotty Joe on that. You know, I know they called us, and that motion we're doing the cheat motion, but it actually wasn't breaking the rules. This stuff is, you know, but hey, they let the Eagles get away. Don't think they can just get away with the tush push. I mean, you know, we sit there and we watch Jalen Carter, since his rookie season against guys like Liam Eichenberg to this year, he gets away with a Deacon Jones slap that's been banned from the NFL regularly. And they don't do anything to him. So, am I holding my breath that they're going to do anything? No. And when I was reading, and he was right, you know, they used to have a play trying to prohibit that. And because they thought it was tough for the officials, they kind of got rid of it. Then that's what video replay is for. In certain situations, you pretty much need video replay, and that would be one of them. You know, I know a lot of you are newly found hockey fans. Hey, man, you can't kick the puck in the net. You got to use your stick. Kick the puck in the net, no goal. You know, like, and I think it takes away, like, the equality from those 1 yard or less downs. It's no longer an equal playing ground. You know, it's no longer a 50-50 chance. It's like a 95-5 chance. And I do agree, like, you know, Scotty Joe's right. It's basically a rugby play. You know. So, and what's even more ridiculous is the referees, because the Commanders were trying to get the timing and the jump right, threatening to give the Eagles the touchdown if they kept jumping offside. That's even more ridiculous. It really is. What's with all these cheaters, bro? The Patriots, the Eagles. What's going on here, huh? What's going on? But K-Jax makes NFL loves rules that help the offense score points. Points equals money. 110%. K-Jax, did you get that? You know, K-Jax, now you're in the chat. I didn't get an email from you. Did you get that chop card? I sent that out a couple weeks ago to you. Did you get that chop card? I sent it out in like January because the Canada Post strike ended. I didn't put tracking on the package. You, Rhonda, and 50th State Fins fan, I sent all your packages at the same time. 50th State's Fins fan is in Hawaii, and he got his shirt. Here, I'll tell you when he messaged me. He got his shirt. I'll tell you exactly right now when he got. Check your mail if you haven't checked your mail. By the way, I would recommend. Where are you? Troy. He got his, and he sent me pictures of him like in the shirt. He got his 10 days ago, and he's in Hawaii. I sent yours to Jacksonville, I believe. So it should be there any day now. If I don't know, that's weird. 2 weeks ago, but it would have came back to me because, you know, I do have a return address on it. So it should have came back to me if it didn't. So I'll check again, but you know, we'll see. But it's weird that the Tua shirt gets to Hawaii before you and Rhonda's out in Ohio. Didn't get her shirt yet. I don't think you haven't got the card yet. That's weird. So check the mail, and like Red Horse says, then go check your pulse. All right. So keep me updated. It'll come back to me either way, and if it comes back to me again, then I'll send it right back out for you. All right. So don't worry. And if it doesn't get to you and it gets lost in the mail, I got some more chop cards that I got. Don't worry, I'll get you something. All right. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know how it is or why it is. I'm the king of pulling Dolphins. I don't know what it is. You know, I was down in Vegas for my birthday, obviously. On my birthday, I went down to a Paradise Card Break. Shout out to them. They hooked it up. Bought a box of Photogenic. I pulled a Ramsey. I pulled a Tyreek. And you only get like 50 cards in it. I pulled a Ramsey. I pulled a Tyreek. And I pulled, I want to say, a Raheem Mostert Dolphins cards. Like, you know, almost 10% of my box is Dolphins. Like, and the Tyreek card, I posted it on Twitter. It's awesome. He's doing a backflip. It's fantastic. But yeah, like, I've been opening up Don Ross mega boxes have been smacking lately, and I pulled some heat. You know, your boy went out and pulled. Look at this, the Jaden Daniels rookie Prism Wave, beautiful. But I did pull some Dolphins recently. I'll send this to you. This will be one of the cards I sent to you. I pulled the Rated Optic rookie Chop, so I could send that to you if it doesn't get to you. And then I also pulled out this Jalen Wright. And hey, shout out. Hey, little Taj Washington. Look at that. And I pulled a Prism Green Wave Malik Washington rookie. So your boy keeps pulling the Dolphins. I love it. I'm loving every minute of it, bro. I don't know why, but I like it. I ain't going to argue with it, you know? Ain't going to argue with it. All right. Let's get that like button up to over 100 right now. There's almost 200 of you in the room. Let's smash that like button. Let's get it up there. Where did I stay in Vegas? Me and the wife stayed at the Bellagio, right off the strip. It was a good experience, man. Went to the Sphere. Man, those prices to even go watch the nature documentary in the Sphere. Holy jeez Louise. You gotta sell a kidney. You know, I'm gonna tell you this. Check this one out. Think about this, and think about the Canadian dollar right now, okay? $13 for a can of Sprite out of my fridge in my room. Are you crazy? $9 if you want the can delivered by room service. Huh? And shout out to all you in the chat. I don't know if you tried it yet. I was scouring. I was looking. One of my favorite drinks in this world is a Shirley Temple. And I heard 7-Up has released a 7-Up Shirley Temple. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but god damn, I want to try that. I'll tell you. So, but shout out to all of you in the chat. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, shout out to the sponsor of this video. Of course, who is that sponsor? As always, you see it right above my head. It is BetUS holding me down. And guess what? They've already got odds out on where Jevon Holland's next team for week 1 in 2025 is going to be. The Miami Dolphins lead the way, and the Buffalo Bills are number 2. Wouldn't that be a kick in the nads? Wouldn't that be a kick in the nads? Minnesota, New York, I can deal with it. Buffalo, are you crazy? So those are your odds. Go over to betus.com right now. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. You get your first 3 deposits matched by 150% or more. Up to $2,000. 24/7 customer service. Some of the quickest payouts in the industry. Shout out to BetUS for being one of the sponsors of this channel. Man, if Jevon Holland goes to Buffalo, I'm going to tell you this right now. Jalen, you hand off that ball to Jalen Wright, and that man comes up in that box, go low, Jalen, go low. Give him memories of the Jets game, baby, on Black Friday. Go low, baby. Go low if he goes to Buffalo. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to hear me yelling that if I'm watching, when I'm live streaming that game with you guys and live reacting. When you hear Reason say, and he's out in Buffalo, go low, Jalen. Go low, HN. You know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. All right. So, Hey, man, go get your bag, Jevon Holland. I've been a fan of you since before we drafted you. Hasn't worked out. I know I wouldn't pay you $20 million. So, hey, it's a business. It is what it is. Let's get into it. Let's start off with Tyreek Hill. Now, I listened to Joe Rose earlier today, and I hit up EM, and I said, bro, did you hear Joe Rose on today talking about McDaniel and Tyreek and Welker? So I'm going to play it. You're going to go to certain areas, and you're only going to see the quote specifically talking around the Tyreek Hill Welker thing. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to lead up and into that. All right? So listen to what is said here, because this is deeper than Tyreek. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to play the clip here. It's about over 3 minutes long. All right? So let's play the clip. Give me thumbs up in the chat. Just make sure you can hear the audio good. Let's get into this. And remember, Joe Rose is connected to the team. Joe Rose is connected to the players. Let's go.
More than anything with Chris Greer, making picks and still the general manager, is Mike's got to get his team back. Mike has to get his team back. Mike's got to take control. Now, usually when you act a certain way with your players and you're all teammates and all that stuff, and you check with them before you do anything, and you want the captains to be really involved in decisions and all that, you just got to make sure you got the right guys. But at the end of the day, you're not teammates. You're the head coach. You are not their teammates. The teammates are the teammates. And if guys are taking advantage of it, and your last meeting that you have with your players after the last game and lost to the Jets is, we got a problem with guys being late all the time. First of all, I've never heard of that. It's happened on teams. I have never heard that thing getting out in a meeting and the players talking about it, and then the coach has to come back out and talk about it. I find him. I do everything. And everybody, when he's saying that stuff, is thinking the same thing. Mike has lost his team. He's got to get it back. If you're going to be the coach, you got to find a way without changing, because you can't all of a sudden come in and act like Don Shula. I get it. You can't all of a sudden come back and they're going, hey, what's with Mike, man? He's kind of a hard ass now. But Mike's got to get the team back. Mike has to get the team back. And if the same guys are, doing it late and same problems, guys not showing up, you got to get rid of them. I don't care what anybody says. If you have special rules for one guy and it goes on all year, and he's not playing great, if it's going on, even if the guy's playing well and you're losing games, it starts to affect other guys. Because now other guys feel like they can do it. Well, he gets away with it. I can do it. It's like that substitute teacher comes in, man. We got the substitute all week. Great, bro. This is going to be great. He can't be the substitute teacher anymore. This stuff, there's got to be, again, I know it's a new game. I know it's a new time. The Don Shula way doesn't work. I get it. But we can't have these discussions. This stuff about guys openly being late and having a problem, and not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings and afraid you'll lose guys if you're tough on them. I got to tell you the other one too, man. If Tyreek Hill got Wes Welker fired, which is what everybody tells me.
There you go.
I mean, if those guys are running to the head coach or the coach is seeing stuff and it's not working, I mean, if you're blaming Wes Welker for that passing game last year, Wes Welker had nothing to do with the two deep. Don't blame him. Wes Welker wants his guys to block and play hard. Anyway, we got to go to break.
Look at what he just literally said about everything. Everything he's 110% right about. And he says, if Tyreek got Welker fired, but he follows up with, that's what I keep hearing. That's literally what he followed that up with. That's what I keep hearing. Like, what are we talking about? And he's 110% right about everything. Like when he talked about Don Shula. You just can't turn into Don Shula overnight. And these guys who are becoming up late, and we all know who the culprit is. When he was talking about players are going to watch this guy get away with it. This is why I keep going back to that Jets game. In a must-win situation against the Jets, this guy took a practice off for illness, and then he comes up on TikTok at his Soul Runner store at Ventura Mall. He wasn't sick. He had to work the register. That's crazy. And then this is what really taps my ass here. This is what really gets me here. Tyreek quit on the team. Tyreek basically told you in his post-Jets game little spiel when he said, I miss Tua, I miss QB1. What's he telling you? I can get my production. I can win when Tua's healthy. But when Tua's not healthy, I can't get my production, let alone win with this guy. And he's pointing right at Mike. Have you ever thought that maybe Tyreek is being a voice for certain people in that room, and they're letting us know they're out on Mike, and that's why they're showing up late to practices? Like, did you hear what Joe Rose said? Joe Rose played in the NFL. And he literally tells you, I've never heard about we're having end of the season meetings and it's all about, well, you guys got to start showing up on time. You guys got to be on time. This is the problem. Tyreek already got his chip. He's sitting there watching us do what we've never. He's sitting there watching us do what he's already trying to do, what he's already done. Like, what are we discussing here? It's absolutely ridiculous, man. It's just not a leader. And then look at what he said about Welker. Welker's holding guys accountable. Welker wants guys to block. And this is what I already told you because this is what I was already hearing privately. This is what I already was telling all of you guys. This is why I was already putting that theory out there. That Tyreek got Welker fired. Because I knew how hard of a coach Welker was. I knew what the standard was he was expecting. It wasn't buddy, buddy, buddy. It was, yo, bro, get your ass in check. And I don't care what you say. This is only going to further the soft narrative. And no, Tyreek Hill is not on every down blocking. He's whiffed on blocks. Tyreek Hill was called out multiple times by our quarterback and our coach this year for running the wrong route that led to interceptions. He was called out multiple times through the media by his coach and his quarterback. He's running the wrong routes. He's not finishing off his blocking assignments. He's taking days off practice to go work a register at Soul Runner when we just gave him new money. And now, because you had a coach who was a ball buster, he's out. And I love this narrative. You know what the people that will defend Tyreek, right? The same ones, right? They'll say Tua's stats are hollow and they don't mean anything. But they will dismiss Tyreek in all of his key drops and big moments in big games because he puts up 1,700 yards a season. When it's the same exact thing. They don't realize they're being hypocrites. All those people are now saying Wes Welker wasn't a good coach. Are you crazy? River Craycraft, best years under Welker. Craycraft just can't stay healthy. Jalen Waddle's best years under Wes Welker. Tyreek Hill's best statistical years under Wes Welker. Malik Washington looked like a legitimate contributor when we started making him a part of the passing game late in the season. And for a 6th round pick and where we took him, you look like you got a contributor there under Welker. The only one that really you can hold his feet to the flame for is Eric Ezukanma. And that's really come down to the player. He hasn't been able to stay consistently healthy. And clearly, he's not grasping certain things. That's coming down more to the player. That's why he's not getting opportunities. That's coming down to the player. So, but that's the new, Welker wasn't a good coach. Bro, I got someone on X trying to tell me that Frank Smith is a better coach than Welker. Are you, what? Frank Smith is known for offensive line and tight ends. You had to go get an already proven veteran in Jonnu Smith to make that tight end room look even passable because everyone behind him's a mitigated disaster from Julian Hill, who I kept telling y'all wasn't the answer, but they keep investing in, and watch, they're going to keep continuing to invest in, and Durham Smythe, who you've now released. Durham Smythe was a shell of himself by last year. Okay, now the O-line. Frank Smith has his hand in the O-line. Do we want to talk about a result? If we're going to talk from a results-based standpoint, give me Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill over anyone you can name on the offensive line, and really the only one is Teron Armstead, who can't stay healthy. And Jonnu Smith had 1 year and was already a proven veteran when he came here. Please. People trying to tell me Frank Smith's a better coach. Have you lost your mind? Unbelievable. What about Chase Claypool and Robbie Chosen? You mean 2 veterans who couldn't hack it anywhere else, but were all of a sudden expected to hack it here and thrust into a situation because of poor drafting and free agency additions behind our top 2 guys? Where's Claypool now? Claypool didn't even make it. You give Welker some credit. Claypool made it into the season. Did Claypool even make it through the offseason with the Buffalo Bills when he went there? And Robbie Chosen bounced around and ended up coming back. And then what happened with Robbie? Robbie was out there making mistakes, running the wrong route. Again, on the player. On the player. Just saying. I got answers for anything. What do you want? Huh? Are we going to blame him for OBJ when OBJ was clearly checked out? OBJ couldn't separate. What, has Welker got to run his routes for the guy? Look at what you're giving Welker to work with. Chase Claypool, Robbie Chosen. One a failed draft pick, the other one a journeyman. OBJ, shell of his former self, pretty much checked out on the league. And when we heard Tua talking about guys planning trips to Cabo, I think we pretty much knew who he was talking about. This is what you're giving him. Oh, and then you give him Craycraft. And let's not forget, Craycraft looked like he was going to be studly this season through the preseason. But what happened? He got injured, making that touchdown catch in the preseason. Malik Washington showed you finally gave him someone with a little juice, a little electricity as a developmental player, and look at what he looked like. We were all excited. Just saying. And now, I'm going to tell you this. As things unravel, because we will find out more over time. We will, 110%. If this winds up being, especially when Tyreek gets out of here eventually, whether it's next year, this offseason, whenever, We're going to find, in the next 2 years, we're going to hear more about this, and we're going to learn what the deal is. And we already know where this is trending from what Joe Rose just said, and from what I had already heard privately leading up to this. We already know where this is headed. Why do you think I was theorizing about this? I've literally put this out there. Did Tyreek get Welker fired? No one wants to believe it. Certain people want to believe it. Other people don't want to believe it. And you know what? Because here's the thing, and I said this yesterday. If Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer knew they had at least 2 years of security, they'd be moving off of Tyreek Hill. The problem is their asses are up against the wall. They're being held to the flames. And if you don't produce something this year, you're probably out of here, both of you. I don't think they view, and I've said this multiple times, I don't think they view getting rid of Tyreek as addition by subtraction. The most dynamic player that's been here since Ricky. Now, if they knew they had two years, you know what I mean? Okay, I could see them making the move. But I don't see them getting rid of that kind of weapon in a desperate year for them. I just don't. I just don't. Now, you're sitting there in the draft. Will Johnson's gone. Kenneth Grant's gone. Mason Graham's gone. Malachi Starks is gone. Membo is gone. Campbell is gone. Some of these blue chippers are gone. And the whole wide receiver board has not been touched yet. What do? Because you could literally take your guy right there, start the run on wide receivers. You literally, think about this. You could orchestrate it. You could take your guy right there, start the run on receivers, and when that run starts, you start shipping Tyreek. That's when you start shipping Tyreek. When that little run starts, you start shipping Tyreek. And then you try to get 2 more picks in the top 100. And, you go balls deep on the trenches on both sides. That could be a play. Personally, everyone knows where I'm at. I really want Will Johnson. There. If we're going offensive line, I want Armand Membo there. Play right tackle, right guard. I want him. Gimme. All right? I'm telling you, if the right guys fall into my lap, look at, I would double up on, Will Johnson falls to me at 13, and then somehow I'm in striking distance and I can move up a little bit and get Nick Manawari, and I can set my secondary, I'd do that. If Kenneth Grant is sitting there, and then at 48, Deion Walker is sitting there, and he's the best player, I would double dip. If Armand Membo is there, right? And then Jonah Savanneh is there at 48. I'd double dip on the offensive line if the right guys are there. I'd double dip on the defensive line if the right guys are there. I'd double dip in the secondary if the right guys are there. Will Johnson and Nick Manawari would change that secondary in a split second. Oh my God. Please. And then if you go at a guy like Dre Greenlaw in free agency, all of a sudden that defense, we cooking with fish grease, baby. So, but again, even with the offensive line, I would sign Will Hernandez, and I would sign another guy like a Tevin Jenkins or a Will Freeze. And then if the right guys fell to me, if Armand Membo falls to me at 13, I'm taking him. If Jonas Savanneh is the best player out there at 48, I'm taking him. I wouldn't care. This is trenches, man. This is trenches. What do I think about Xavier Watts? I like him. Top 4 safety in this class. My issue with the safety class is it's very top heavy. That's the problem with the safety class. I think it's very, listen, Andres, can you imagine if we added Dre Greenlaw? Spent some money on defense. You added Dre Greenlaw, paired him with Jordan Brooks, and then Will Johnson and Nick Manawari or Kenneth Grant and Nick Manowari, or a Will Johnson and a Walter Nolan because of the character concerns, one of those combos falls in your place, oh my God, get out of here. That defense is cooking, baby. That defense will cook. I'm telling you. Whew, sign me up for that. Don't worry. Hey, listen, last year I gave you top 50 players to watch at the Combine. Tomorrow I'm doing the show. We got like 75, 80. Last I counted. I'm about to finish the list. I just split it into different. I had to give you top offensive players and top defensive players because I went in. I'm giving you guys that I think you should watch, like I do every year. Guys you should watch for Dolphins and positions, but also guys you should watch that are going to be freaks and are going to be worth your time to tune in and actually watch them test. You know what I mean? So I'm giving you guys the goods tomorrow with the Combine, baby. I'm giving you guys the goods with the Combine tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. All right? So we're gonna have the goods because this Combine, especially on the defensive line, stacked on the defensive line. You really want to have as many picks as possible in this draft between 25 and 100. I've said this before. You really want that. You really want that. So, yeah. We going in, man. Now, a couple of guys aren't going to be on the list who were, but announced today they're not going to be testing, like Elijah Arroyo. I had him as a tight end. He's not going to be on the list. Abdul Carter, not going to be on the list because he's not testing. There's some guys that are announcing that are not going to be on the list because they're just not testing. So, but yeah, tomorrow, tune in, man. We got something we're going to talk about. We got a really good main topic, and then I'm going to be giving you all the Combine info, all right? It's going to be a good one tomorrow. So make sure you tune into that. But yeah, with Tyreek, listen, I've already said 60-40. I'm down to trade him. But what really pisses me off is if this guy quit on you, now to make it work, you're firing coaches to appease him? Oh, hell no. You said what you said. Now you play by our rules if you're sticking around for this season. We ain't playing by your rules. No more. And Mike and Chris Greer need to let that be known. If you want to be here this year and we allow you to be here this year, you are playing by our rules. We are not playing by yours. No more of this missing practice to go to Soul Runner. I don't care for 0-6. It ain't happening. Pay you $30 million a year. Show up. You know, you dropped footballs in that San Fran game from Tua. You want to deflect the blame to the head coach for giving you days off when you're the same guy who's taking illness off practices because you want to go work the register at your store. Acting like drops ain't been a thing for you the last couple years. You led the league in drops in 2023, Tyreek. Did you forget this? And I don't want to hear if it was because of the volume, because Jamar Chase just led the league in targets and volume, and guess what? He didn't lead the league in drops. So I don't want to hear that either. Real talk. If you got, then you haven't been watching Chris Greer. They're not drafting a tight end at 13. In the deepest tight end class in decades. Listen, everyone knows I want Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm's my guy. The guy I'm warning you guys about that I think they might be locked in on at the right value is Mason Taylor. That's the guy I would be. That's the one I would be like. That's the one I would be if I was a Dolphin fan who really wasn't into the draft and just casually watched it and stuff like that. That's the one I would lock out. That's the one I would lock in on. I like Fannin Jr. too, for sure. But he's, he's got some work to do. But Fannin's a guy they would like. You can use him on the boundary in the slot. You could use him in line. You could use him in line if you can get him there. You can use him at an H-back. You can use him as a fullback. Fannin can move around a lot. But give me Gunnar Helm. Why would I take Tyler Warren at 13? Why would I take Colston Loveland in the 20s? I could get Mason Taylor on day 2, and I could get Gunnar Helm in the 3rd or 4th. I just don't see that. You know, I just don't, it just doesn't make sense to me. That wouldn't be good use of draft picks. And I'm telling you, Greer is all about positional value when it comes to draft value. Telling you. I've been telling you. This is why I told y'all he wasn't taking a guard last year. They were going to take Fautanu and stick him at tackle. They were not going to take him to be a guard here. He was going to be a tackle. Fautanu was that's who they thought that was going to fall in their lap when they were sticking. And then their next best player available was Chop Robinson, so they went to Chop. Bro, they took an edge rusher when they had Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, and at the time, they both expected them to be back in the season, and they still took an edge rusher. Telling you, value matters. That's why I could see Membo, them being very high on Membo. Gives you that right guard, right tackle flexibility. Could play right guard next to Austin Jackson. Then when Austin Jackson goes down, you kick him out to right tackle. Jackson may never get his job back, but even still, you then could kick him back to right guard when Jackson is healthy. Then you don't have to pay Jackson, let Jackson go. You got your future right tackle, and you got a couple years to fix right guard to get the right guard in the building that can be his successor once he kicks out to right tackle. Membo makes a lot of sense. Just like a guy that I've warned you about, I could see him being secretly high on, I warned you guys a month ago about this, Josh Connerly Jr. I can see him very high on Josh Connerly Jr. Where I'm hoping he's not high on is the guy who scares me the most is Josh Simmons. That's who scares me the most is Josh Simmons. You know, really only one good year of good tape. You know, that's a dice roll, you know. Membo, when I drop that board, he might be tackled. He's tackled 2 right now for me, but he might have jumped Campbell by the time I drop that board because I keep telling you about this. He's itching me. He's begging me. He's pulling on my shirt. Let me jump. So, yeah, that's it. So, the Miami Dolphins, though, what did they do today? They went out and they added Ryan Cooper Jr. off waivers from Seattle. Yay. 5'11". He played at the College of San Mateo and then played a couple seasons at Oregon State. He's a good athlete, mainly I viewed him mainly as a slot guy. But he's shown the ability in college. He can play on the corner, on the outside. Yeah. I mean, y'all saw the Packers game. Y'all saw that tackling display in the Packers game, and this guy, tackling isn't his strong suit. Let's put it that way. At least it wasn't coming out. I think he was on the practice squad of Seattle, and then he was released. Yeah, he joined the practice squad like November. Spent his rookie year with Baltimore Ravens and then appeared in one game. Yeah, this is a project. Let's see what he can do. That's all it is. I do not think this is anything to really, let's say, I'll tell you this much. I wouldn't have made a show centered around the edition. That's for sure. All right. So, thoughts on Andrew. Okay. So Andrew McCaba from Texas. Big fan of the kid. For me, he, I I would have him. I want to say I haven't finalized my safety board yet, but he would probably he would be in my top 5 safeties for sure. Obviously, Starks and Amanawari would be at the top of that list. I'm a fan of Makuba from Texas. I think he's a beast. Again, like, here's the thing with, with the safety class, it's so top heavy. Like, if you just don't hit that one of those top 5 safeties, like it just feels like you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit, and yeah, I'm not a huge, massive fan of the safety class, but it's so top heavy that if you get one of those top 5 guys, you're in pretty much good shape. But what's crazy is safety's one of the worst positions to be drafting for, and we need the whole room rebuilt, right? Like, my top 4 are Malachi, Amanawari, Xavier Watson, Andrew Makuba. I like Billy Bowman out of Oklahoma, but he's got issues. I like Malachi Moore out of Alabama. He's got issues. Ransom out of Ohio State. He's got issues. Like, it's once you get outside of those top 4, top 5, because I guess, I would say top 4. It's very top heavy. And then really, once you get outside of the top, 7 guys, it's like, okay, everyone's like a late day 3 pick. So, not a huge fan of the safety class. Jonas Sanker, he's okay. I'm really not, once I get outside of Starks, Amanawari, Watts, Makuba, I like Billy Bowman, but he's got serious issues to his game. Malachi Moore, but he's got issues to his game. Kevin Winston Jr. is okay, but he's got issues. Castro from Iowa is good. I really wanted Xavier Nwakpa to come out, but he ended up going back to Iowa. I was high on that kid. So, yeah. It's not a great safety class outside. It just feels like a really top heavy. It really feels like a top heavy. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with the class. All right. Let's keep it rolling because we ain't done. Patrick Paul, speaking of draft picks, the Miami Dolphins 2024 draft pick. Miami Dolphins left tackle Patrick Paul has lost more than 10 pounds since the season end, he said this weekend at the Dolphins Challenge Cancer. Paul was listed at 6'7", 332, appeared noticeably slimmer. Fine-tuning myself, he said. Lots of lost weight, double-digit pounds since the season's been over, been on a good diet, learning from the older guys how to do the offseason properly and how to take care of your body. Paul played 9 games as a rookie, second-round draft pick. In 4 of those games, he played 93% of the snaps or more. That includes 3 starts in 1 game in which veteran Teron Armstead was quickly determined unable to perform. Paul has not recently spoken with Armstead, a Pro Bowler who could retire this offseason. It's possible the Dolphins could cut or restructure Armstead's contract. I think if Armstead's coming back, if Armstead wants to come back, he's coming back. One thing is clear, Paul is preparing as though he'll be Miami's starting left tackle in 2025. I'm working towards being a starter, and that's all I'm focused on. Being the best version of myself I can be. Paul is an enormous individual and showed some flashes of potential last season. As expected, he also struggled at times. According to PFF, he graded a 44.9, which was 127th amongst 142 graded tackles. Again, go off the tape. Don't go off PFF grades. All right. They say Paul had 5 penalties and 3 sacks allowed. Armstead, he graded an 89.4 or third among all offensive tackles. Miami moves on from Armstead. It would be for financial and durability reasons. The Dolphins return to Paul in year 2. There's every reason to believe he'd be able to improve. Will the Dolphins target offensive line? Paul the guard? Yeah, that's not happening. He's a tackle, a big tackle, very big and athletic tackle. Just a tackle, he said with his big trademark smile. Well, we already knew that. I could have told you that. I told you when we drafted him, the guy's strictly a tackle. You do not move him to guard, period. So, yeah. He's a tackle. That's what he's always been. I wouldn't even be playing with him at right side. Just let him continue to develop as a successor to Armstead. Because if anything, this is going to be Armstead's last year. And Paul is the type of guy, he's learning how to use his body. He's really being a sponge from all of the defensive lineman veterans who are teaching him, as well as the offensive lineman veterans who are teaching him. Just let him develop. All right? Let him develop. Now, I'll tell you this much. 110%. When it comes to Patrick Paul, and if he gets another year, he better be ready for year 3, because that's going to be an even further indictment on some of the guys I named earlier. Armstead will not play guard. Armstead's sticking at tackle. All right? Get Warren. He's Gronk 2.0. Remind me where Rob Gronkowski was drafted. See, that's another reason why you ain't taking a tight end at 13. You got John Embry and Frank Smith, guys I've talked about. They got track records with tight ends. Whoa. You shouldn't have to take a tight end in the top 15 picks with those type of tight end developers in the room. Because if you do, what good is it? Well, why do we got them? What are we here for? All right, in the deepest tight end class in decades. I'm good. And I forgot to mention this when I went live last, so I'll mention it now. The Miami Dolphins, they did end up losing an offensive mind. The Eagles hired Parks Frazier to be the offensive pass game coordinator. All right? He was an offensive assistant with us in 2024. He was a pass game coordinator for the Panthers in 2023. He was the interim offensive coordinator for the Colts in his final season. So we did end up losing an offensive mind, and that's Parks Frazier. Wasn't Bevel. Wasn't anyone else. So say your 3 Hail Marys and count your blessings. All right? Robert, I'm going to have a 3 takes dropping this week for Patreons and channel members. I'll tell you this much. I don't think they're taking Gene T at 13, even if he's on the board. Period. End of story. So, be prepared for that. All right? Because I know some of these people want Ashton Gene T, but yeah, they're not gonna take him if he's on the board at 13. So, and if he was the best player available, I could see them trading back. Seriously. I'm not even just saying that. I could see them trading back on that situation, in that scenario. Guys, do me the favor, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We are just about to hit 17K. I want to get to 20K and do a multiple winner giveaway. All right. So I got a lot of stuff coming. I'll be live tomorrow. More so earlier. I'll be live between 4 and 5. Got a good one for you tomorrow. Got some stuff I want to talk to you guys with tomorrow. So we got a good one. We're going to go over Combine. I got a good little conversation because there might be some steam and some smoke to something right now regarding the draft. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow and anything else. Wednesday, I'll be live. Ball game in Richmond. We'll be back for the finish line. Thursday, I will be live with Neil. You're going to want to tune in to Fin Too Deep for that. And the reason being for that is simply, man, we're going to be right in the full swing of the Combine. So you're going to want to be around for that episode, all right? So smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. And then I got my free agent list we'll be dropping next week too. So free agent target list. So last year we did 30 targets. We'll do around the same this year. So smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. Shout out to BetUS for supporting the channel and sponsoring this episode. And shout out to each and every one of you for tuning in. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new on the way out of here. And as always, you already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. We'll see y'all on the next one.